Hi, folks. How are you? I hope you're happy. I hope things are good with you. And I hope you're ready for another great episode of Nerd Cave Show. I threw that in there for you. Yeah, we're getting ready. Well, we're going live now. We're not getting ready, right? It's a little late for that.
No,
I'm going to turn it over to Ray now, and we're going to get the show started. So thanks for joining us. Here he is.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to, I apologize. I completely forgot to do something, and I'm doing it right now.
Typical.
There we go. All right, cool. I just wanted to make sure that I neglected to check the audio on the mixer to make sure there was audio. I'm prepared.
That's all right. It's not the first time. Won't be the last time. We're all good, bro.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful, questionable, and sometimes doable Nerd Cave Show?
Yeah, we'll go with that. Why not?
Tonight's Happy Juice is brought to you by another bottle that was in my cabinet. Jameson! Nom, 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 nom. Good stuff. Good stuff. We were looking and going, what do we want to go with tonight? And we're doing, the candy challenge tonight is zombie balls?
Zombie balls. Yeah, BAWLZ. Yeah.
So we'll be getting into those here in a little bit.
Yeah. Hang on just a second. Retro says Ray is blurry on his end. Anyone else? Now I have my phone on mute, but I'm on YouTube, and you are clear on my end.
I have a feeling. No, it's blurry on mine end too. I think the camera is slightly out of focus.
Oh, okay.
We'll deal with it tonight.
Yeah.
Because I'd have to switch over. It's not something we can fix currently because it is a manual focus. So, yeah. I guess somebody bumped. The only thing I think of is somebody bumped the lens. So, unfortunately, no way of correcting it at this point. Not without. Well, I mean, if you want to, can you reach over?
I can.
Can you reach over and grab the?
Yeah, I should be
grab
able
the
to.
focus. Just ever so slightly bump one direction a little bit. We're gonna do a little fixing right here on the show. So, just ever so slight. There. Hold on to that right there.
You look good to me on this end.
Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect right there.
Cool. Fixed it. Thank you, Retro. Appreciate that.
Some manual tweaking. Yeah, you should have seen him. He's like reaching over, trying to do like this ballet of.
You should have taken a picture of that so we could put it on the
grab the
webpage.
lens, but knock over the monitors.
It's a maze back here. It's crazy. Obstacle course, really, but it's fun.
If you guys we would have had his camera up, I swear you guys would have had an up the armpit shot. It would have been fabulous.
You really wouldn't have appreciated it, but you might have found it kind of funny.
Yeah. And you guys are going to notice that we have been able to fix the latency a little bit tonight. We've been doing some major tweaking, and I've actually done some internet upgrade here at the house to really facilitate a lot of that. So yeah, we are looking fantabuloso.
Ray has been kicking its butt.
I've been doing a lot of tweaking. I am always messing with this stuff. So. As you guys saw in the past, I was working on Retro's his soon-to-be new-to-him, what I'm calling a Resto Mod Windows 98 box. Retro, you still owe me a sound card. You're either replacing the one I threw in there, but it is a studio sound card, so I think on eBay they're like $25-50 a pop.
I've been there, bro. I get it. It's just one of those things. You don't even know it's happened until it's happened.
Yeah, but it's coming. It's actually, if you guys saw my social media, I posted up videos of some crazy Windows desktops, the Duke Nukem. I've got another one coming to really mess with you, but I'm not going to take a video of it. Well, I may post a video after I give it to you. But somebody sent me one that was supposed to be really good, so I'm going to be checking that one out. So, yeah, it's been a very fun week. First thing we got to talk about, and this is a quick little blurb. I know I posted up, but one of my favorite all-time games, System Shock 2. Now, believe it or not, this was one of the first ones I got into. The little update, Night Dive Studios posted on Twitter here recently because if everybody knows, they've been doing a lot on their original System Shock, their remake they've been working on. Well, back in August, which was a wonderful little present for me, a little birthday present, they had posted that they were going to work on System Shock 2 Enhanced Edition. Now, since then, we've learned that their major focus is, one, a little bit of graphic upgrade, but they wanted to focus on network code for multiplayer, and I think it was graphics and network. But they really, really wanted to make it, whatever the change they did, to be completely backwards compatible to all of the maps and mods people have made, the community have made for the original System Shock 2. Well, we haven't heard anything for a long time, and then they did this poll on Twitter. What do you look? What are you most excited for? System Shock Remake, Shadow Man, Blade Runner, or System Shock 2 EE? Of course, I'm over ecstatic for. I was a tough choice. System Shock 2 Remake or System Shock Remake or the System Shock 2 Enhanced Edition. I was really close. I did tell them that I'm probably going to be stocking a little bit more. So, and that's literally, if you go to my Twitter, you'll see my post there. Okay, this may cause me to start stalking you more than normal, or more than usual, and that's true. I've been following their page. It's teetering on obsessive, and I hope they're okay with it. If not, they will love me. So yeah, System Shock 2 Enhanced Edition is still in the works, and for people who've been asking, a couple of people have been asking me. What is it going to be? And basically what they have said in the past, and this was back in August of last year, they said that the priority with the Enhanced Edition is to be able to deliver an updated co-op multiplayer component. As of right now, starting a co-op game is needlessly complicated, and we're going to address by implementing features that will enable more modern and streamlined experience. So the Enhanced Edition that's their primary focus is the co-op that so many of us like. Let's be honest here. System Shock 2 co-op was fairly broken out of the box. Denied. And I know the other thing they were wanting to look at, or at least they discussed, was the horrible ending. And that's because by the time they got down to the end of it, when they started getting to the in-game content, they were put on a serious rush to get it out the door. Ain't nobody got time for that. The main game was absolutely phenomenal, and then once you get towards the end part, it was you can tell it was kind of thrown together quite quickly. So I hope they're going to work on that, but we'll see. It depends on what they want to do with it. So that's the latest update on System Shock 2. We got any questions?
Not yet.
Okay, cool. Sorry, my microphone is making me itch.
It's all right.
That being said, I think we need to move on to the candy challenge. Being as we're talking about it, Zombie Balls, and he's going to post a link up for you guys.
Yeah, I'm going to get that up to I saw these and I was like, yes, this has to happen.
Retro, before you, we've actually had several people. We want to thank all you guys. We love you guys. We literally have this week, next week, and the week after of candy challenges. We literally have 3 weeks for the candy challenges from what's been submitted so far.
And I know my wife is excited because I don't know what it is. But I mean,
because it's in a friggin' mystery bag.
It's in a mystery bag, and she's shown everyone in my house. I've heard them all in the other room. Yeah. They opened it up and looked at it, and they were like, "Oh, that's funny. That's funny." I have no idea what it is. I am anxious.
Yeah, when everybody's giggling and she hands you a nondescript bag going, guess what you're eating?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
But this is what we're eating tonight. Mm-hmm. Zombie Balls. Now these are apple, watermelon, and cherry fruit sours. I'm not going to read.
What's cool is they're like these are black speckled.
Uh-huh.
Are these the black cherry?
I'm not sure. I have never tried these before.
What'd you say the flavors were? Because I see 4 colors.
I see it's apple, watermelon, and cherry. So maybe they just have some that are...
But there's green speckled, red, and black speckled.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
You put a lot more black speckled in here, which has me nervous.
I'm going to try one of the black speckled.
All right, I'm going to do this black speckled one, too. Well, that's pretty good.
That's not bad. I like it. Hey, what's going on, Eric?
Hey, good evening, man. Ray Rice. I like that one. All right, the black one's pretty good. Mm-hmm. What do you think? I'm trying to figure out what that is.
I'm not. It could be a cherry.
Could be like a black cherry, maybe. All right, what's this green speckled one?
That one's pretty good. That one's
like a lime, isn't it?
Tastes like it.
It's not a very strong lime. It's more of like a sweet candied kind of lime. All right, I'm gonna go do a solid green one.
I'll try that one with you.
That's definitely cherry. Not my favorite. I'm not a big cherry fan. Balls in your
Balls
mouth.
in your mouth. That's right. We got zombie balls.
Thank you, Crazy R's, for letting us know we have balls in our mouth. All right. What do I need to do?
Red one.
I already did a red one, didn't I? That's definitely cherry. They're not strong flavors.
No, they're not.
They got more of a sweetness to them than the flavor. They're pretty good, though.
It's not sour enough for me. I was hoping for more sour.
The black speckled ball is the best, though. I said that out loud.
You did.
Those are pretty good.
Not bad at all.
Go kind of well with the Jameson.
Yes, we're drinking Jameson regular tonight as the Happy Juice. Jameson Classic. That's what
we knew we were eating jelly beans, and we were like, all right, we're not too sure about them, but I mean, I think they're more of a shock value than they were of a questionable taste. So we'll just go with a good.
I was hoping for
base.
something sour, like, you know, maybe actually sour, but
Yeah.
but not bad. I mean, flavor-wise, they're great. I'm not complaining.
They're
at all.
not like it. Though the thing is they're a little bit thicker on the shell. But the flavor is not like it. What I would normally. They're definitely not like a Jelly Belly or like. They're a little bit. It's more of a, what would you call it? Like a smoother sweet.
Yeah. It's. I don't. Yeah. I see what you're saying though. It's not overly sweet.
No. But it kind of eases yourself into there. It's really good.
I have 4 left. I'm gonna try to make them last. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, those are zombie balls. We got zombie balls in our mouth. We'll wash it down with some whiskey, because that's what you do with zombie balls. I hope.
We had balls in our mouth, and now we're drinking Happy Juice.
You know what you're supposed to do? Wash it down with the correct stuff. Yeah, zombie balls. They're like. It depends on where you find them. I found them for like $10 on Amazon.
Yeah, I think I paid about $10, something like that. I mean, it's
a good sized bag of them. You're buying like a good bag of.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not getting like a little pouch
there's
for $10.
my head to the bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's
You're
not-
getting a fair. Well, you guys saw the picture in the beginning. Now they have Happy Ball Juice in their mouths. Retro. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, these are made. Who makes these? Sweets Indeed? Is that the name of the company?
Sweets Indeed. Yeah, distributed by Sweets Indeed.
I wonder who makes them.
Carefully harvested from free-range zombies, these delicious balls have some bite. Don't let their decomposing corpses scare you. Zombie balls are a rare delicacy, perfectly aged for optimum fruit flavor.
These would be perfect Halloween candy, honestly.
They would be a pretty good one, you know.
They're gluten-free and kosher. They do. I think that's where because it says it's sweet and sour. The more I'm feeling it, it's like
it's more balanced.
It's a very balanced. It's not like the sour overpowers it. It's just I didn't notice it until I started thinking about it. It's like,
yeah, there is some sour.
It's like
there,
a sour hint.
Yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it. Not bad at all.
Apple, cherry, and watermelon. Those are pretty good. All right, move on with those. Definitely give those a try, people. Those are really good.
Absolutely, yeah. Those
Zombie
are good.
balls. Where'd you find these?
Amazon. I was looking up. What was it? Creepy candy, and imagine because of the
now,
zombie.
this is how you normally shop, isn't it?
Oh, usually, yes, absolutely.
And this is how I file my paperwork. All right, so. Let's talk about legal woes or legal happiness or legal non-happiness. So, if you guys remember last year, there was a bit of a lawsuit that went on. Well, now we're in another part of that because now, before it was somebody suing Gearbox, Valve, the producer of the, what was his name? Bobby Prince. Bobby Prince sued them. Well, now Gearbox is suing 3D Realms. And it kind of ties into the lawsuit that happened last year. And basically what happened is, there's a lot that goes on with this, and I'm trying to there's a good way of putting this together. But basically, last year, Bobby Prince sued. Basically, he sued Randy Pitchford, Gearbox, and Valve. He had to name out all of them because that's all the parties that were involved. And essentially, what had happened is in the U.S. District Court document in Tennessee, Prince's attorneys described how 16 songs he wrote were used in a 1996 shooter, Duke Nukem 3D, under an agreement that Apogee had limited right to use Mr. Prince's music in Duke Nukem 3D in exchange for a royalty equal to $1 per unit sold.
I remember.
Come up to modern times. Essentially, what happened? Sorry, a little bit of candy coming up. Essentially, what happened use that candy. Give me a second. Apologize about that.
No problem. Yeah, that's some interesting stuff happening. But I do remember, I don't know if you guys remember that. It was about maybe a year ago we reported on that one.
Yeah, it was back in August.
Yeah.
It was back in August or September. It was September 29th when the news hit. So basically what happens normally what happens is there's different ways a producer can, the game companies don't typically write their own music. Some do, like ID Software, they did their own music in-house. But sometimes you'll have a composer or an artist do the music for you, and then you either A, write out a deal, or B, you purchase the music off of them, and you get all the publishing rights to it. It depends on how you go about it, and you really have to look at it in two different ways. Well, under the agreement Bobby Prince had with 3D Realms for the original Duke Nukem, fast forward to current times, and if you remember, it was like 2 years ago, Duke Nukem 3D World Tour got released, and it was a rehash, and it had all the original game music in it. Well, the problem was, under Bobby Prince's original agreement, he deserved royalties for every copy that got released. That was just what the agreement he was under. Well, it was under 3D Realms, and 3D Realms sold the IP, the Duke Nukem franchise, the Duke Nukem IP, to Gearbox Software. Gearbox Software thought that they had purchased everything outright. Come to find out here, when Bobby Prince is contacting him, say, hey, you guys owe me money because you're using my music, and Gearbox Software / Randy Pitchford was like, no, we bought all that when we purchased the Duke Nukem IP. So he had to issue out a lawsuit, get everybody to court. What this court date is, and this has been popping up over the news, is essentially what happened is Gearbox had to file for a new lawsuit against Apogee Software, which is, well, okay, no, not against, okay, here's the problem is some of the articles are saying against Apogee Software. Apogee Software and 3D Realms are two separate companies. I believe the way it works out is 3D Realms was the game developer, Apogee was the publisher. I believe that's how it is. I may be wrong on that. So what happened is Gearbox is suing 3D Realms, and along with Scott Miller and George Broussard, that alleges breach of contract in relation to the sale of the Duke Nukem IP a decade ago. Simply put, Gearbox is saying that 3D Realms failed to mention that it didn't own the music when it sold the Duke Nukem rights. Basically, the music, they didn't own the rights to the music in the game that was part of the IP they sold. And he goes on to say, Gearbox purchased all intellectual property released to Duke Nukem video game series, the Duke IP, from 3D Realms. In the asset purchase agreement, 3D Realms represented to Gearbox that Duke Nukem IP was owned free and clear by 3D Realms, and that 3D Realms had the right to use the Duke Nukem IP without payment to a third party. 3D Realms further warranted in the APA that no copyright was infringed by use of the Duke IP in the Duke Nukem video game series. What's happening is Gearbox Software is now in the middle of this whole mess because they didn't know they had to pay royalties to this Bobby Prince about the music. So
it kind of came as a shock.
It was a shock because they're like, no, we own all the rights to this. We bought all this. And he's like, no. And anybody who works in the entertainment industry, there's various ways you can look at, you can get music for your games, for your television shows, whatever. You can, A, purchase for full reproduction, or basically pay a flat fee to where you get to use it free and clear with whatever you want. You've already paid a lump sum at the beginning. A lot of times, a lot of companies do that because what happens is, if you want to keep using it, it'll get more and more expensive as you pay royalties out. Some of them, they'll do a smaller one, but do a small percentage of, hey, every time you use this song, we get a small percentage. Another way, which is the way Bobby Prince did Duke Nukem 3D, was, now there's no disclosure on if he got any upfront, and I don't know if there is, but he got $1 for every unit, or every time a copy of the game got sold, he was to receive $1. Now, I'm assuming what the deal was, and this is completely speculation on my part, and yes, this is a way of some people of doing it. A lot of artists don't like doing this, especially back in the day when it was games. The reason being is, one, they want their money up front. I worked hard for this, pay me my money. Makes complete sense. He did it in a way where I'm assuming he took either no money up front or a small amount, but then if the game, and this is where it was kind of a gamble, and you can see the risk he took to do it this route, and that's why a lot of artists don't do it this way, is I will get paid as the game sells. So essentially the way it worked, but he retains the copyright over the music. So the way it works out is, I'm pretty sure my assumption is he got very small to little to nothing in the beginning, or maybe he charged a flat rate for the work, but then overall he was going to recuperate his costs or make his money on the amount of games sold. The gamble was, if the game was a flop, he wasn't going to make anything. The game was very much a success, so yeah, he was going to make some money. It's a bit of a gamble. Well, nobody can foresee this whole big resurgence of remastering games or re-releasing games. It's kind of never happened. They've been doing it for movies, but they've never really done it for video games. It's become a big thing now, and unfortunately, under that agreement, one, he owns the music. So for every copy of the game sold, that got sold on Steam, somebody's got to pay him.
Yeah,
that's the right thing to do. The problem is Gearbox is stuck in the middle where they did this, but they didn't know they had to pay it. Now they do. And essentially what it is the purpose of Gearbox's action is primarily to ensure the company is protected from any costs or judgments arising from Prince's lawsuits. Although it also notes that it is determined that 3D Realms did not own the contested property when it sold Duke Nukem. Gearbox also has incurred actual damages equal to the difference in value of what 3D Realms agreed to transfer to Gearbox and what Gearbox actually deserved. And essentially what they said was, the main reason they're Randy Pritchard said that one of the main reasons that they're doing is they don't know really where they need to sit, but they want a judge involved to issue the final ruling. So there's there's like, once the judge puts the gavel down, that's it. So a lot of this is just to clear up the muck. And I know a lot of people kind of taking it out.
Yeah. We just got joined by our very own Lady Duke. She just finished up with what she had to do.
No, we haven't got to the memes yet.
We haven't got to the memes yet, Lady, but that's coming pretty soon.
But that's the whole thing with the Bobby Prince.
You gotta feel for Gearbox in this situation, kind of, because they were under the impression that here they are, they bought the media. They bought the rights to it.
Yeah, they bought the IP, the intellectual property of Duke Nukem, so they can make games in Duke Nukem for which they really need to make another game. And let's make it a little better.
Hopefully, once all the dust settles from all this situation that's happening right now, maybe Mr. Prince and Gearbox can get together and work on something. Hopefully, that would be cool, I think.
I don't think Gearbox works. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to say yes or no on that. I don't know if there's any working relationship between Bobby Prince, and there may not be after this.
Maybe not.
But
maybe
I
not.
mean,
But
Bobby
I'm
Prince
just saying,
did have
you
to
know,
protect himself. That's basically the way it works
Yeah.
out. And Gearbox has to protect themselves. I don't fault Gearbox for doing this. I don't fault.
No, absolutely not.
Bobby
If I were in Gearbox's situation, I would have done the exact same thing. You know, in my opinion, they should have been made aware of this situation when they purchased the intellectual property.
Yeah,
This
I think
is,
this was one of those that was kind of glossed over, and but that's what the lawsuit and everything needs to be done, because there needs to be a judge.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot of, well, I think it's this. Well, everybody's lawyer teams and everybody's CEOs are going to be like, well, I think it's this. Well, no, we sold you the rights to the IP, and yes, you own Duke Nukem, but the music was a separate thing, and you can't actually own the music, and they can contest, like, especially like with case in point, Gearbox's latest games, they use especially in their advertising, they're using copyrighted music by actual artists, some really great songs, but they had to pay royalties for that, and I'm pretty sure they're under stipulation. Yes, you can use it for this, but you can't use it for anything further. So we don't know.
Yeah,
and it's one of those deals that's I do believe that both parties should have looked into it, but it was kind of a, hey, we're just going to buy all this. Okay, we're going to sell it all to you.
Yeah.
And I know 3D Realms was just looking, so we'll see what happens. 3D Realms was not always the greatest. I mean, they have some brilliant game designers, but they're not always the best at stuff, because I mean, some of the latest stuff they've done is absolutely phenomenal. But what was it? Ion Fury is an actual fabulous game. The fact that they made a game last year using the build engine, freaking mad geniuses. But on one side, they're mad geniuses, but on the legal side, they need some help. They need some help.
So Lady Duke asks...
I love the guys. I really do. I love them to death.
Yeah. She asks how the zombie balls were. Lady,
balls were good.
They were good. I mean, we enjoyed having the zombie balls in our mouths. They were tasty. And the happy juice followed behind it. So,
actually, the happy juice complimented quite well.
Yeah, I did. Lady asks, why didn't they pay the royalties to begin with? She
came in halfway through.
Yeah. Are you asking about 3D Realms or
it's
Gearbox?
Okay.
I mean,
now are you talking about freaking Eyelash? Get out of there. Now you got to be a little more specific. Why don't they pay for royalties to begin with? Who are you talking with? Are you saying why didn't Gearbox pay for royalties, or why didn't 3D Realms buy the royalties to the music from Bobby Prince?
She says either or. Well, see, what happened was Gearbox, or not Gearbox, but 3D Realms was paying Mr. Prince per copy sold. They were paying him $1, I believe it was.
Yeah. Okay. With every project, every deal, here's the basic way to look at it. I'm trying to synopsis back up, so I'm not repeating everything I just said. Essentially, what happened was they were under an agreement. Bobby Prince, who wrote and composed all the music for Duke Nukem, held the copyright to all the music, and he would get $1 per unit sold. My assumption is it made it cheaper, that they weren't paying as much up front, so it brought down the cost of making the game, and all they had to do was pay him out of what's sold. So it kind of put the gamble on Bobby Prince. If the game didn't do well, he wasn't going to get paid much. But if the game did phenomenally well, he would make more than probably... there was a chance of him making far more than if he would have just done... So it's like a 50-50, and some artists, it depends. Like I said, there's agreements. When it comes to artists and game developers and movie developers, there's agreements, and everybody kind of does their own thing, and it's what happens when the lawyers or however they set it up.
Yeah.
Why they didn't do it that way, without actually talking physically to him, I don't know. We can't honestly say why.
Yeah, we don't know.
We can only speculate.
Yeah.
So there's no knowing why they did it that way. That's just what happened when the original Duke Nukem came out. Gearbox was unaware.
Yeah. When Gearbox purchased the intellectual property, they thought they were buying everything. And
Yeah, when they bought the Duke Nukem IP, they thought they were getting everything one lump soul, or lump barrel,
lump
and then
sum. Yep.
yeah, lump sum. I can't speak.
That's all right.
But then they found out that we don't have the music to this after they had re-released Duke Nukem twice on Steam.
Wow.
And so Bobby Prince, who was still going by his original agreement, and actually spent a year and a half to almost 2 years sending letters and sending everything before he got legalese. So he was moderately cool about it, but he was still like, dude, you guys owe me money. I own the music to this, and you're using it, and this is the agreement. So
yeah,
everything's still in legal battle. So
lady says, "Okay, gotcha. This stuff gets complicated real quick."
Oh, it does.
That is the truth.
Anytime you get in the entertainment industry, prepare for confusion.
That's why I like my job in the entertainment industry. I just plug things in.
All right. Moving on from this. Tonight's a Cave Jam, and tonight's actually a continuation of the Cave Jam from last week. It's a similar, and I told a few people about this. This is the USB 3.0 90-degree bend. Now, the main reason I want to talk about this, and I told a few people about this, but there's this little bit of difference with this one as opposed to the ATX 24 pin. And here's the main reason. One, this is not going to be able to be used in every instance. And I want people to be aware of this. This is a great little connector. It's like, I don't have it here, do I? It's like about the same price, about $6 for this little guy. And it's basically a 30-pin USB 3.0 90-degree bend. Now, in certain instances, this will not work. So you need to pay attention to your motherboard and the placement of the USB 3 if it'll actually work for you. Here's why. In the picture, you can kind of see it, and I'm going to show you the other ones. I have a motherboard here. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a USB 3. It was the only one I had laying around I can grab real quick. So please don't laugh at the fact that I just grabbed a Socket 478 Pentium, single-core motherboard, and trying to plug in a USB 3 connector that doesn't exist on it. Bite me. So when you're looking at a motherboard, and say it's sitting vertically in the motherboard. Here's the back of the case where you have the I/O slots. There are two common places where the 30-pin adapter usually sits. Either A, towards the bottom of the case, either where your power supply is or the bottom of the case, bottom altogether. There's usually a connector down here near your SATA ports and where your front panel I/O sits. And then the other placement is up by the ATX, the center, towards more front of the case, over by the ATX power connector, and there's usually a USB 3 30-pin connector there. If you are trying to use, if your motherboard has it over by the ATX towards the front of the case on this side, this 30-pin 90-degree will work perfect for most cases, depending on how much of a bend you have to use. NZXT cases will work flawlessly. Now, if you are trying to use it, pay attention. If your 30-pin connector is down at the bottom of the case, do not get one of these, because most likely this is going to cause the connector to angle the connector straight down. Remind you, it's going to keep it parallel with the motherboard. So it's going to cause your 30-pin to go 90-degree directly off the motherboard in parallel with it. When it comes to where it causes the cable, and I'll show you right here where it causes the cable, and I've got one right here, plug it into the connector, fits in nice and ugly. If you're doing it at the bottom of the case, it's literally going to force this connector, because most USB 3s you'll see here, there's like an inch to an inch and a half of molded connector, and then you're going to have to do a bend with the cable alone, and it's a pretty thick cable, usually 2 cables. This is not going to be able to reach at the bottom of the case. You're literally going to have to drill a hole through your case, and it's just not going to work. Towards the front, it'll usually work fine because you will have the reach off the front of the case to go that and underneath. So if you've got the connector down here at the bottom of the case, you're going to have to stick with the standard 30-pin where it comes straight off. Let me get this thing unplugged. This is a firm. It snaps on there really good. It does not come off easy. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Let go. Wow, this is a good connector. There we go. All right. And basically what happens, you can see here, you're going to have to do the bend like the full 300. What is that? 360?
Yeah, something
like
about that.
Where
yeah.
it bends like this, so it can come out through the bottom of the case, or the slight bend like this. You can't do the bend like this because, unfortunately, if you've got enough clearance, you can do that. But a lot of the times, you're going to have like a ½ inch from the bottom of the motherboard to where the hole opening is, where the your USB and all your other cables can fit through the bottom of the case. That's the reach you're going to have to do with the standard USB 3. If the cable's sticking out like this, you're going to have 2 to 3 inches of clearance from the bottom of your motherboard. Now, if you're using a micro ATX, it'll probably work. But if you're using a full ATX motherboard in a standard size case, you won't. And the USB 3 connectors is at the bottom of your motherboard, towards the bottom of the case. This adapter will not work. I wanted to stipulate that. But if it's sitting up towards the ATX power supply where the cable's going to shoot off towards the front of the case, this will probably work flawlessly for a lot of you guys. And I highly recommend it. It's nice. It's got a nice black felt. Like I said, plugs in, nice and snaps in quite well. Wish I can talk right. And it does use a nice PCB that's got all the cables too, so it is nice and solid.
All right.
It's not as solid as the ATX, but that's just because the pins and everything are a lot smaller. So there is a little bit better of a chance of bending that, but not unless you're really manhandling.
All right, we got a few comments here. Retro says my 3.0 is on the bottom of the case / motherboard. So yeah, this item probably
it won't work for yours because there's only even the NZXTs with the full ATX motherboard, you've only got like an inch from the bottom of the motherboard. There's a small opening, which is like, actually, I don't even know if it's an inch. I think it's like 3/4 of an inch. So you want the cable to come not parallel with the motherboard, but straight up from the motherboard. That way, it'll come off the motherboard and then bend like that. So that's going to have to live the way it is, and then it goes up underneath the case like that. You can see that. I know it's kind of hard to see, but you want it to kind of bend like, you want to, come up directly from the motherboard, be able to do a nice hard bend and go straight back down. If it's 90 like this, you need like 3 inches of clearance from the bottom of the motherboard, and most cases don't come with that. You got to get a full tower, and you're going to be spending like $250, $300 for a case just to make that work.
Yeah, he says good to know. Yeah, it's about an inch, if that, clearance.
Yeah, it's like 3/4. It's like 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah,
clearance, and that's where they've also got the cable pass-through holes right there. So the ones at the bottom, you have to stick to the standard cable where it comes directly off the motherboard and then bends down. The ones towards the ATX connector where the cables and everything come from the front of the case, you can use this ATX 90-degree bend. Now, I have seen, it's very, very rare, there's some motherboards where the connector is a little bit more farther in. Like I said, look at the motherboard, see where it is. That one may work. But with the standard motherboard, I know the standard placement of these won't work. Because that's usually towards the bottom of the case. So I did it, like I said, I wanted to continue with this. I told a few people about this, but I wanted to tell people, be careful about ordering these. They are great, they work great, but these are a little bit more limited use.
Retro says, wish they made something to hide the ugly CPU cables to the direct from the GPU.
They do. That's another one of these I'm gonna do here soon. There's actually several options you can do. EVGA makes an option, but it's a bit bulky, and it only works for certain graphics cards. The other option is to do one. I wish card manufacturers would change things, but they're not going to. That's going to be something I get into another story. There's literally 5 different ways you can do it. You either do sleeve cabling, you do the EVGA power link, you do the side-mounted VGA, basically where the graphics card doesn't even plug it in the motherboard. There's a ribbon cable to it, and it's mounted like this in your case. It looks different, but it's really cool, and I'm literally going to be doing that with my build here. Oh, not too long.
No problem, Retro. He said, "Oh, nice. Sorry, that was a bad sentence." Yeah, we've luckily, where are you? There I am. Hey, luckily Ray figured it out, so you know.
Yeah. There's multiple ways of doing it. I
At least there are options.
There are definitely options.
Yeah.
I've played around with a few of them. Personally, my personal favorite is just to use sleeve cables where they come off and you do if you can get them to bend, depending on what case you're using, you can do a nice clean combed bend. The other option is just use the standard ATX power connector where it comes off and it Y's off, so you can keep everything bundled in one small spot. You can do the EVGA power link. That works good in NZXT cases, but it's also limited on which card you use. It's basically for NVIDIA cards only, and it's only certain models, usually on the high-end tiers. Let's see here. What else do we got? There, like I say, sleeve cables, cabling. You can do sleeving over your existing cables, EVGA power link, side mounting the video card, and then the cables coming down the bottom of the case, and you don't see it that way. There's that option. Let's see here. Oh, there is somebody that makes an RGB. It's kind of like this little tower thing, and you put the cable inside of it. Corsair makes it. It's part of their IQ system. And it basically sits on the bottom of the case, comes up like this, and you put the cables inside of it. Yeah, there's multiple options people have used to hide them. And I've done the sleeving, and I've done the standard PSU covering.
Yeah, Retro says, gotcha. You had me at RGB.
Always with the RGB. Gets them every time. Ugh. A little parched. So, all right. I think we are about time to start talking PlayStation 5. Because there is so much to talk about. Oh, there's a lot to talk about. Sony dropped a bunch of new information. Mostly about, the latest one was about all the games that are coming out. Yeah, quite a few actually. I got a booklet here.
Yeah, there is. We've got a short novel here full of information.
There's several things. Let's go over the games first. First of all, they're going to have a bunch of exclusives. They're going to have quite a few that are going to be exclusive only, and I'm trying to find my list. I've literally got a list of which ones are the exclusives, and I've also got a list of when they're going to be coming. I've got
the PS5 exclusive list.
Yeah. So the games that are going to be PS5 exclusive. Horizon Forbidden West. Oh, yeah. That one sounds good. So the ones that are exclusive to the PS5. Astro's Playroom, Demon's Souls, Destruction All-Stars, Gran Turismo 7, which that one, I want to check that one out. Horizon Forbidden West. Retro's looking for that one.
Old Crow.
Oh, is that Old Crow?
Old Crow.
Oh, Old Crow, okay. Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart. Returnal, and Sackboy: A Big Adventure.
Amanda says, Silent Hill, I have a mighty need. Show it, you cowards. I mean, the game developers.
There's a lot of them that are keeping tight-lipped. We've got titles, but we don't have much more on it. All right, so...
Retro says Gran Turismo for the win for me.
Yeah, that one... the Gran Turismo games have always been beautiful. They've been gorgeous. Oh, yeah, when we're watching this, you guys can sit here and enjoy the memes. And he's going to choke.
Sorry about that.
So... Now, these are games that are going to be console exclusive. That means when they come to consoles, Sony has the exclusivity to them, but they will also be they'll also be released on PC. So, Bugsnax is going.
That name alone has me intrigued.
Yeah, that one
I'm not familiar with
let
that
me find that. Bugsnax.
I mean,
they don't have a release date on it. Yeah, it's Octodad developers, Young Horses. Vibrant, fantastical world filled with talking anthropomorphic animals as well as insects that look like real-life food. Hence, Bugsnax. Get it?
Perfect.
So, Bugsnax is going to be coming to the PS4, PS5, exclusive to the Sony, but it's also going to be released on the Epic Game Store. Deathloop is going to be a timed exclusive, but it will also come to PC. Ghostwire Tokyo is going to be a timed exclusive, but it's also going to be coming to PC. Godfall, and that'll also be on the Epic Game Store for PC. Goodbye Volcano High, PS5, and also going to be released on Steam. Jet the Far Store, which is going to be PS5, PS4, and the Epic Game Store. Kena the Bad Spirits, Bridge of Spirits, which is going to be PS5, PS4, and the Epic Game Store. Oddworld Soulstorm, PS5, PS4, and the Epic Game Store.
I'm sorry, I cannot believe that the Oddworld franchise is still happening. I can't tell you how giddy that makes me.
Yeah, you can't kill a good thing.
I remember Oddworld and Oddworld 2, you know, Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, and then Oddworld 2, Abe's Exodus. And then, yeah, it just kind of went from there.
I still have not played any of them, and I need to.
I highly suggest them. They're great games. I could see you and the kids loving them.
Yeah, man, to do an Oddworld game. What's up? Yep.
Now, Retro said he commented, was disappointing in not hearing backwards compatibility, except with the exception of the PS4. Now, they didn't rule out backwards compatibility for the previous models before that, did they?
I think from what I understand, the Xbox is going to be a little bit more backwards compatible. But you also got to remember the PS5. I think both consoles are going to be kind of the backwards compatibility is going to be limited to what console you get, and they're not really. They kind of touted backwards compatibility, but now they've kind of pulled that back a little bit. So there's a little bit of little gray area we're dealing with right now on that. I do know that doing the PS4 is very, very doable if you get the version of the PS5 with the ROM and you have the disc.
All right.
Now, if they re-release the game and they can port it over to the PS5, I can see it. But you got to remember, they're completely different hardware. Okay, so continue on. The Pathless is coming to the. Oh, here's a unique one. The Pathless is all going to be PS5, PS4, Epic Game Store, and Apple Arcade. That was kind of weird, a unique one. Project Anthea, which is coming to the PC as well. They didn't say where. Stray, which is also coming to Steam.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at these memes.
Oh yeah, they're great. They're freaking great. I can't watch them because I had to sit there and edit all these things. Solar Ash, which is also PS4, PS5, and the Epic Game Store. Now, some of the games you got to, even though they're touting them as PS5 exclusive, not all of them are going to be released at launch. Like Assassin's Creed Valhalla is going to be a PS5 launch title.
That one I can't wait.
Astro's Playroom is going to be a launch title. Bugsnax, to be announced. They don't have a release date yet. Controls to be announced. Deathloops to be announced. Demon's Souls Remake is to be announced. Destruction All-Stars is to be announced. Dirt 5. If you guys don't know, that's a rallycross race game. To be announced. Destiny 2. To be announced. Fortnite. That's going to be a PS5 launch title, of course. We knew that was going to happen. Ghostwire Tokyo. To be announced. Godfall. To be announced. Goodbye Volcano High. To be announced for 2021.
Wow.
Grand Theft Auto Online and Grand Theft Auto 5 to be announced 2021. Gran Turismo 7 Retro to be announced. Sorry I had to do that to you. Hitman 3 January of 2021. So you won't get that until after Christmas. Save your Christmas cards. Yeah, retro. Arg, man. Let's see here. Horizon Forbidden West. For you there, Old Crow, to be announced. No date for you. Hitman 3, January 2021. Jet the Far Shore, holiday of 2020. So this Christmas holiday is when that's supposed to be released. No firm date on it yet. Kena Bridge of Spirits, to be announced. Little Devil Inside, to be announced. Lord of the Rings Golem, 2021. That's all they tell us. Next year. NBA 2K21, to be announced. Oddworld Soulstone, sometime this year, 2020. Outriders, holiday 2020. Let's see here. Pragmata, to be announced, 2022.
2022.
2 years, or roughly. Project Anthea, to be announced. Quantum Error, to be announced. Rift Apart, to be announced. Resident Evil Village, to be announced, 2021, next year. Returnal, to be announced. The Big Adventure, to be announced. Scarlet Nexus, to be announced. Solar Ash, to be announced, 2021. Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Not a release title, holiday 2020. So it is going to be this Christmas. Stray, to be announced 2021. Ultimate Fishing Simulator. I know, Retro, you were wanting the fishing simulator. 2021.
Amanda, I hear you. She's commented, oh my gosh, Viking Assassins, right? That's what I'm screaming. And Gollum. They have a game devoted to Gollum.
Yep.
Here's
the other one you were interested in. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
Yeah. Oh, wait. That's for the PS5?
PS5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To be announced.
To be announced. Man, that's a big thing. That is a big thing on the I'm on the Facebook group.
Yep.
There's just no dates on it. We're not getting dates at all, and it's like, all right, we're going to wait, but we're not going to wait happily.
All right, so Retro, he goes, did you happen to see or read with the physical edition and digital edition of the PS5, are they going to be different internals to make them play differently? Honestly, I don't see them doing that. From what I understand, the major difference is one's going to come with a ROM, one isn't. They're both, from what I understand, are going to have the 800, they're a custom-made PCI Express 4.0, 820-something gig SSD, which I almost, here's my honest opinion. They're saying 820. I think what it is it's a 1 terabyte, but the OS and a bunch of cache and stuff need to eat up about 100 gigs, which makes sense to me for updates and other stuff. So calling it a 800 and something sounds about right. Let's see here. Watchdog Legion. This is a weird one. Ubisoft fiscal year 2020 to 21, which is sometime around April 2020 to March 31st, 2021. So in that gaping window you got there, sometime in that time they're going to release Watchdog Legion. These are unconfirmed games, but people do expect them to be on PS5. Rainbow Six Siege, which is supposed to be a launch title for PS5. Rainbow Six Quarantine. Warframe, which is still the release date for PS5 is to be announced. Elder Scrolls 6, to be announced, but confirmed to be after Bethesda Game Studios' other new game, Starfield. Battlefield 6. 2021 is what their current assumption. Cyberpunk 2027 or 2077 to be announced. We know the game's coming out for PC and everywhere else here. It's probably still in production, so you got to wait a little bit. Skyrim port number 37252877 shit to be announced. Yep, exactly. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone to be announced. Call of Duty 2020 to be announced, probably in 2021. Now, going further into it, I'll get into the
Call of Duty 2020. Never mind. I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm not going to go there.
But as for the difference between the digital and the version with the ROM, as far as I'm aware, and it doesn't make any sense for them to make two completely separate cases or two completely separate motherboards for two different consoles. It just doesn't make any technical sense. I almost guarantee you that the motherboard between the two will have the areas to put the ROM. They just won't populate it with connectors. And then the cases, I love the duck.
The duck is great.
The cases are slightly different, so you can't put a ROM into it either. So we don't know a price yet. And everybody has been asking, what's the price going to be for the console?
That's a really good question, folks.
The wonderful thing is they got a hold of PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan, and he avoided answering the question.
I like the way he did it, too, if I'm being honest.
He wanted to emphasize value as opposed to price. With that in mind, the company is offering two different designs for the PS5, a disc-based offering and a digital only. Ryan went on to say, consumers are purchasing solely digitally these days, and that the company would be doing what we typically try and do by just offering choice to its customers. Conventional wisdom and history show that our business is one of the more recession-proof businesses. But I think this will sharpen our needs to ensure that we focus on getting the value equation right, and I emphasize value as opposed to price. We must be more attentive more than ever to ensure that the overall value proposition in terms of the console and the games, the range of games, the quality of games, and the quantity of games makes this something that our community aspires to. So they're going to be making sure the console's nice and expensive so they can tout its value.
Exactly, and I like
So
what Amanda
if you guys are
says.
looking for a price, they don't even want to say it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be up there. You know what I mean? I think.
And here's the thing. I'm pretty sure they're not doing that because they're still calculating what it's going to cost them to make it now because they're still going to release it this year. But as everybody knows, with the pandemic and everything that happened, everything's more expensive. And especially when you're releasing a first run of a console, which is always the most expensive. Like, it gets cheaper as you go along. The most expensive point in a console's development is during the development and the initial release of it, because those initial sales are they're not really profiting from it because all that's going back into the R&D to make that console. So right now they're trying to balance out how much they can charge for the console to profit from, but to also recoup their costs of trying to release a console during a serious economic challenge. And I kind of understand them not releasing a price, but it also infuriates me to no freaking end.
I like what Amanda says. She says, good God, at least there'll be a lot of good titles to choose from. Something good is coming out of this less than stellar year. But my gosh, it's going to be at least 500, at least.
Some of the estimates were saying $599.
I could see $599.
And I'm not really happy about that. But given its specs, and here's the thing. Let's go back to the specs, because I know what they're talking about. So we know it's going to be AMD Zen 2 base CPU. It's an 8-core, 3.5 gigahertz processor. Nice, happy stuff. Granted, we have 4 gigahertz and up. We're getting up to 5 gigahertz on PC, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. You got to remember, they can't crank it up too hot because they can't have too hot of a CPU inside that freaking eyelash of evilness. They can't have too hot of a CPU inside those little cases or it'll burn up. So there's a balance to power, how much thermal energy that that processor can generate before it overheats itself and it slows itself down anyway. Plus, they got to keep everything nice and compact in those cases. So, let's see. He retro said maybe $4.99 for one edition and $5.99 for another edition. Still have profit, but give the consumer options. And that's the thing. And actually, there's going to be there's a whole bunch of this stuff, and I forgot to print it out. But they're also going to be talking about the limited editions and the newer versions going into the PlayStation 5, going into the new versions. One thing you're going to expect is if you're used to the interface in the PlayStation 4, you're not going to know the PlayStation 5 interface. They have already stated that there is a whole new UI for the new console. So expect to learn a whole new interface. I don't think it's going to be much of a learning curve. I think they've just decided that they need to make some tweaks to make things a little bit easier, make things a little bit better. So they're going to be making some changes. The other thing is, well, I'll get into the hardware specs. The two versions with one with the ROM. I don't see $100 difference for the ROM, but I think that's how they're going to recuperate their costs. Because technically a ROM doesn't cost that much, but they are proprietary ROMs. You can't just put in a regular computer one. These are ones specific to the PS4. The firmware is very custom for copyright protection and everything. They've gotten really, really elaborate. And that's happened since the PS2 and the Xbox 360.
Yeah, I think so.
Early, I think even the Xbox One, they got really tricked. So
Crazy Irish says I'll wait for it to go on sale.
there you go. So the GPU is supposed to be a 10.28 teraflops, 36 computational units at 2.23 gigahertz. Now, here's the unique thing about that. It is going to have ray tracing, and it's going to be using NVIDIA ray tracing technology, but it is not going to have RTX cores. They are doing some ray tracing in a limited fashion in software mode. It's kind of unique the way they're doing it. So it is, from what I understand, and I could be wrong about this, they are going to be using ray tracing, NVIDIA ray tracing technology, but not the same way that like an NVIDIA card does, because it is going to be a Radeon-based graphics chip inside the PlayStation. It's going to do amazing. It's going to look amazing. It's going to do 4K. And I do expect within 2 years that it's going to get so much better when the later revisions.
Old Crow says, I'm still in shock that a new Silent Hill game would be coming out.
I don't.
I thought Konami just sold old games and made pachinko machines.
Hey, whatever makes some money. Let's see here. Memory interface. It's going to come with 16 gigs of GDDR6, 448 gigabits memory bandwidth. It's going to have what they're calling a custom 825 gigabyte SSD. It is going to be a PCI Express 4.0 SSD. 5.5 gigabytes raw I/O throughput. It is supposed to have, and here's the unique part, it's supposed to have an expandable M.2 SSD on it. So you can go out and buy, and from what I understand, and with some of the stuff I've read, they're not going to make hey, you have to buy the Sony branded. No, go out and buy a computer SSD with these specs, pop it in, you've just expanded the memory.
Nice.
So
very nice.
When it comes to Sony, I am applauding them for that.
Nice.
Because I will gladly go out and buy an additional 1 terabyte. You can get up to 4 terabytes in an M.2 SSD, and it looks like a memory chip. Pop that bad boy in, and you got speedy, quick hard drive space. But yeah, it is going to be an NVMe SSD slot. It's going to have external USB hard drive support for PS4 games only.
Okay.
I'm curious what that's going to be.
Yeah, that does raise a couple of curiosities.
Yeah, optical drive is going to be a 4K UHD Blu-ray drive if you get the optical drive. So me personally, I'll definitely get I have to get the Blu-ray drive, or get the one with the drive, because I want the main reason I bought my PS4, because it's the best Blu-ray player you can get, and here's why. If you're into watching movies, you're into having Blu-ray discs, you get a PlayStation. The reason being is all other like standard consumer ones are less than the PlayStation when it comes to quality. The reason being is Sony is constantly updating the Blu-ray encryption codes.
Now, I have a question in regards to that.
Well, let me finish.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, meaning that is, when you buy a regular consumer, they preload it with the current standard Blu-ray spec and Blu-ray encryption keys. The problem is, unless you do a firmware update, and usually after 2 or 3 years, they stop doing that, after so long, any newer discs may not play in your player. But in the PlayStation 4, not a problem. Being it's a gaming console, they are constantly... that is one of the things they do with updates. Updating, make sure that any current Blu-ray discs that come out, that your PlayStation will play it. That is the main reason. Also, because it has a ton of processing, and they make sure that it goes through a graphics processor and everything else. Upscaling and everything is the best you can get. Audio is the best you can get. There is no... the PlayStation is comparable, is just below professional level Blu-ray players, and the only reason the professional units are better is because they support more professional video and audio connectors. You know, pure digital output, SDI, balanced XLR output. You know, professional level audio that will surpass that what consumer grade stuff people have in the do. But just if you get away from that and you're not concerned with professional level connectors, the PlayStation is just the top of the bar. And it always is, because they keep it updated. So when it comes to buying the next gen PS5, if I was going to get it, I would get the ROM. Not so much that I have, because I literally only have like 2 discs over there, but I have it so I can pop Blu-ray discs into it and not worry about it. So what were you going to say?
I was going to ask, as far as the PlayStation. Let me find it. There we go. As far as the PlayStation Blu-ray player being the top of the line, there, does that include Sony's Blu-ray players by themselves?
Sony, no, that's a completely different division.
Gotcha. Okay.
And those follow standard consumer rules where they only update the firmware after 3 years. And we've had Blu-rays for what, 10, 15 years now?
Yeah, true.
So if you bought a first-gen Blu-ray player, there is a 75% chance that the discs that come out today will not work on it.
All right, now we have a few comments. I'm going to go back just a little bit. Amanda is commenting back on the Silent Hill game coming out. She says, please be good. It's not a pachinko game, Konami. And Old Crow responded. She said, he said, hey, they managed to turn Castlevania into a pachinko machine and Metal Gear. Amanda says, but why? You only lose money and not get your money's worth. And Old Crow says, because Konami is stupid. It's the comments, people.
Yeah, and honestly, when it came down to me buying a console, that was literally when I was looking at the Xbox One and the PS4. I was literally looking, what is the most I'm going to get out of this? And what am I going to do? And I was like, yeah, there's a couple of games, but I saw the PS4 and I was like, I can actually watch my Blu-ray movies and never worry about if I went out and bought a Blu-ray movie that I wouldn't be able to watch it on the PlayStation. If you watch any reviews, you got to you watch any audio-visual review, go and watch them because they will tell you the standard bar, like the high bar for them to compare other thing is to the PlayStation 4.
Okay. All right.
Because of audio quality, video quality, and the fact that it's constantly updated with the latest Blu-ray codes, encryption keys, decryption keys, stuff like that. When it comes to consumer, the PlayStation 4, if you're looking for a Blu-ray player, the best you can get is the PlayStation 4, and the fact that it's also a game console, it's a media streamer, it's everything all in one. You don't get anything better. And honestly, that was the main reason I bought it. Plus, the fact at the time my son really wanted to play the Disney Infinity, and he literally plays that religiously. So,
now Retro had a question.
Yeah.
Does PS4 do 4K movies or only the PS4 Pro?
Only the PS4 Pro. I have the PS4, and it's 1080 only.
Okay. Let's see. Old Crow said, "Oh Ray, remind me. I need to ask you a question about that. I can't get mine to work properly for playing video media."
Okay, yeah, hit me up sometime, and I'll look into that. As for the storage, I wanted to go back onto this just for a minute. As for the expandable storage, Sony appears to be allowing for off-the-shelf NVMe PC drives, rather than the proprietary storage systems that Xbox will primarily be relying on. However, there aren't many drives on the market right now that use the PCIe 4.0 interface required. They need to be capable of at least 5.5 gigabytes per second transfer speed. So when you guys are out there, don't buy the cheapest one. I'm going to say I believe the 4.0s are like I know the Samsung 970 Evo Pros, I believe those are, or at least the 960s are. I got to do the lookup on those. But yeah, if you're going to get an NVMe drive, but actually, believe it or not, 4.0 is starting to become a bit more of a standard now. So there's certain models you want to avoid. Don't get the cheap ones. There's also certain flash memory. Like I said, hit me up. I'll find some stuff for you. But they're starting to become more and more readily available because everybody's starting to go to the X570 AMD boards. And those will allow you to do PCI Express 4.0 on the NVMe slot. And that is the fastest you can get. And that means your NVMe hard drive is going balls out.
All right.
Zombie balls out.
Zombie balls.
So, yeah. I'm really excited for the PS4. I think it's going to be a great system.
The PS5.
I really do. Like I said, the main reason I'm looking at it, honestly, is for the Blu-ray. The fact that even if I honestly backwards compatible, I would really hope it is backwards compatible because then my son's Disney Infinity will work. But the problem is, I know that unless they make it, what I'm afraid of is backwards compatibility is probably going to be a stipulation. And here's one thing we got to remember, and this is the one thing I'm keeping in the back of my head. Just because they want to they will allow backwards compatibility. Doesn't mean it's going to actually happen. There may be something on the developer's end. They may have to make a patch or make some kind of wrapper for the game for it to function. Because remember, the CPU is totally different. The operating system is going to be different. So there's going to be some changes. And unless they have an emulator on the PlayStation 5 to make this work, it's going to be on the developers. So backwards compatibility a lot of times gets broken because a lot of developers are like, no, we're not doing. We're looking forward. We don't care about that game. It didn't sell anywhere that well anyway. So there's going to be some games like, unfortunately, what I'm worried about is my son's Disney Infinity won't be, even though backwards compatibility may not function because Disney dropped all support for that like a year, 2 years ago. So it's kind of one of those. Even though if they tout backwards compatibility, don't immediately assume it's going to be 100%. Unless Sony invests in an emulator, the time in creating an emulator to make a virtual machine to emulate the console as a whole, and the games run out of that, which would be a bit of a trick and some pretty decent handiwork. It may be required that the backwards compatibility also requires some work on the developer's end, and if they don't do that development, your game may not be backwards compatible. There's a whole lot that goes on, and I know a lot of people are like, well, they said backwards compatibility. Yeah, well, it's not that simple.
Right.
The only way they can make games 100% backwards compatibility is literally all they're doing is going to take the old PS4, overclock a little bit, rebadge it, and sell you an older model for the same thing and make it look new. And honestly, I don't want that. I want to see these 8 cores. I want to see the faster consoles. There's a trade-off for it all, and it's a wait and see to see what they're doing. Like, they're being real tight-lipped. Most of this is just speculation on my part. I'm assuming. I'm guessing. And honestly, if anybody knows me, I really don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I just made a mess on my floor. But I have happy juice and I'm good. So I think we're getting about that time. Dude, you guys have been absolutely amazing tonight. Don't forget to hit like, share this video, do all that happy stuff for us because you love us and we love you. And
we love you. You love we, and share us with people you don't like so we can annoy them.
Ooh, I like that one even better. Yeah, everybody hop onto Twitter and keep bugging Night Dive Studios. I'm going to pester them like crazy because I want to play this. I'm going to start asking them if I can be one of their beta testers, and they're probably going to issue like lawyers to cease and desist to stop messaging them so much. But I know I'm not doing my job and due diligence unless I get to that point. So, because I really want to see this. This is my original game, my original disc. Oh, it's on CD. See, Looking Glass Studios. This is what was this? Windows 95, 98?
Careful, you might start fondling it.
One of my all-time favorite. This game is absolutely phenomenal until you get to the body of the many. Get it on Steam. It was like $10. It's like $10 on Steam. You can also get it on Good Old Games. Get this game and play it. I will gladly play with people. I don't know if multiplayer is working at all, and I'm gonna start digging up some old fan missions that I used to love playing. Okay, cool. Yeah, Old Crow's going to message me in a little bit. I'm looking forward to this.
That was a lot of fun, guys. I need to play with you guys.
Yes, we do. Like I said, come hang out with us. Me and Crazy Iris has been doing Thursday nights and Sunday nights. Fallout 76. But we're up for playing other stuff. I think she's been talking about wanting to play some Left 4 Dead. If anybody wants to hop in it, or with Left 4 Dead 2. I think we were wanting to play that. Maybe some kind of zombie game. I think that'd be kind of fun. Anyway.
Amanda just asked if we have Dead by Daylight. I think I have Dead by Daylight for the PS4.
Let's see here. Retro says 9%. I think you meant to say $9. Yeah, $9. Lol. Dead by Daylight. I haven't played. I think I have Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight is a zombie game. It is a zombie game where you run around during the day and zombies are like just zombies. Some of them run, some of them shamble. But when you...
Do any of them shimmy?
Some of them do,
I am
actually.
deeply afraid of shimmy zombies.
I'm almost positive I saw at least one shimmying zombie.
Because when a zombie busts a groove, you just leave.
I'm just saying.
Run, don't look back.
At night, though, you have these other things that come out. They're zombie 2.0 like things, and they chase and find you. And
what's a zombie 2.0? Is there like some kind of
I can't remember exactly what
adult
they're
material
called,
we're talking here, or kind of got me a little scared here.
Oh wait, Dead by Daylight. I'm thinking of a different game.
Yeah,
it's a slasher game. Never mind, I'm gonna stop.
Oh, that's right. I think I played it for a little bit. It was interesting. I don't know. The System Shock will always be my friend because it's kind of like cyber zombies and stuff like that. It's really, really good. Yeah, go get it, guys. Play it. This is one of my all-time favorite games. I'm really, really excited for. Go follow Night Dive Studios. These guys are absolutely mind-boggling geniuses when it comes to bringing back old games. These guys have more love, more passion than should be legally allowed, and I'm grateful for that because they do absolutely phenomenal work. I am like starting to become their worst best stalker because I love their work. I bought just about everything they've released because they deserve all of my monies. And yeah, go check them out. Night Dive Studios on Twitter. Find their stuff on. They're the ones that did Blood Fresh Supply.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, they've been taking old games and bringing them back to life at 1920 by 1080 and all this. Dude, they're mad freaking geniuses. They're absolutely they're a team of some of the most amazing people out there. I love these guys. I wish all of them, all the best in the world because they are just creative geniuses. So, I think we need to get out of here.
Yeah.
We ran over a little bit. I love you guys so much. Like I said, share it with your friends. Make them question your sanity because that's what I do to people, and I'm good at it. Go get some zombie balls. Click the link to get the zombie balls. Did you post the link for the cave gem too?
Yes.
Yay! Click on the cave gem. Next week we got something else. Next week, our cave gem. The Beard is going to try it out. I bought something I want him to try out, and he's going to tell us about it.
It's going to be interesting.
He's getting spanked with the USB 3 cable.
Ooh, I might just accidentally forget.
If he doesn't, I won't spank him with the USB 3 cable as punishment.
Man, he makes it hard.
That sounded wrong. That was not the way you were supposed to end that sentence. And on that note, now that he's talking about things being hard, you guys have a great week, a great night, and we love you, and you guys take it easy.
Thanks, folks. Take it easy. See you next time.